And so we might be using a strap and or a couple of blocks today. So if you could have those nearby, that would be great. And we'll make our way over to our mats, and you can begin sitting or lying down, whichever is your preference. It might change from one day to the next, whatever calls you, whatever your body is communicating would feel better for you for starting out. So if you're lying down, just feel your body rest into the floor, plant your feet on the floor to give your low back a little support. If you're sitting, feel your sitting bones and root them down. Feel your spine nice and tall. Let's take a breath in. And as we allow that breath to release, we might let our eyes close if that's comfortable. And let's just arrive right here, right now. Letting whatever happened so far this morning kind of fall away. Just set it aside. And letting go of thinking about what's ahead with the rest of our day. Let's bring our awareness, our focus, our attention to what it feels like to be in your body, in the space that you're in the present moment. How does it feel to be where you are right now? Sometimes we use the phrase listen to the body, but I really like to use the idea of feeling the body. What does it feel like to be in your skin where you are? And just the act of letting the mind rest in the present moment in itself is sometimes soothing and calming. Letting go of thinking about all the other things and just giving your mind that one task of just connecting with what you're experiencing now can be restful. But sometimes there's some anxiety about how we're feeling in the present moment. So we can use our breath as a way to calm ourselves. So let's begin to deepen the breath. Draw a fuller, deeper breath in. And then allow that breath to fully empty and release. Give it whatever time it takes to release all the way out. So there's a little pause at the bottom of your exhale. And then let that next inhale be again full and deep, expansive. Fill up with air. And then let it go. Take all the time that you need for your breath, for your full, deep, expansive breath in and out. There's a natural relaxation response that happens when the breath empties all the way. So we see that working with the body can affect the state of our minds. Just as focusing our mind can have a calming effect on our bodies. So as you continue to breathe deeply, I'm just going to share this little reading from Rupi Kaur, who said, "It was when I stopped searching for home within others and lifted the foundations of home within myself. I found there were no roots more intimate than those between a mind and body that have decided to be whole." And I think, that's one of the greatest gifts of our yoga practice, is that it helps us to feel that connection between the mind and the body. And we find that people who spend all their time up in their minds and kind of lose a sense of their bodies experience much more anxiety. And people who have an awareness of their bodies, where they are in space and their body's connection to the ground, people who can be trained to have that awareness have less anxiety, or it can be a tool to manage anxiety. And anxiety is very prevalent. So this is this gift that we're offering ourselves, this practice. So after your next full release of breath, go ahead and transition to a more natural breath rhythm. And before we start our movement practice, let's just check in with how we're feeling emotionally today. And perhaps consider setting an intention for this next hour, or maybe for your day today, of what you might want to cultivate or have as a theme or a focus for this next hour or this day. What are you working on, or what would be of benefit to you to incorporate perhaps a little more of? Breathe it in. And then when you're ready, if you're lying down, you can just hug your knees into chest. If you're sitting up, let's make our way to lying down and hug our knees into chest, and maybe sway the knees a little side to side, or any other movement that you like to start off with. And then go ahead and bring the knees center and drop them down on the floor. I want you to take your arms up toward the ceiling and then reach your arms overhead. And as we reach our arms overhead, the tendency is for our backs to arch and our ribs to pop up toward the ceiling. That's just a very natural thing for our bodies to do. But we're going to keep the arms overhead. And I want you to grab the fingers of one hand with your other hand and see if you can let your arms rest back. If that's really uncomfortable, take your arms wider. But we're just going to leave the arms overhead for a little while, and hopefully they can relax in that overhead position. And then check in with that experience of what's happening with your back and your ribs. Are they pushing up toward the ceiling? Could you kind of soften your lower ribs in and down? And as you do that, can you feel how the back of your low ribs start to connect to the floor if they aren't already? So with our arms overhead, those ribs melting in and down, the back of the low ribs resting into the floor, let's just take a few breaths here and let the muscles in the inner arms, in the shoulders, in the side ribs, just perhaps experience a bit of a stretch. For some of us, this arm position is, we're tight in the shoulders. And the way we deal with that tightness when we take our arms overhead is we arch the back. So if we take the arching of the back out of the equation, we might be experiencing a nice stretch in like the armpits. Everybody feels stretches in different places, but just take a couple breaths and notice how this feels. maybe switch, if you're holding the fingers in one hand with your other hand, switch and hold the other way around and take one more breath. And then just see if you can relax. Relax and soften the chest, the armpits, the arms. And maybe that feels nice for you. Everybody's different. And then go ahead and lift your head up and clasp your hands beneath your head and let the weight of your head rest into your hands. We're going to take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to knit those ribs in a bit more as we curl up head, neck, and shoulders. And now you should feel those lower ribs pressing down into the floor. And then take one hand and reach it towards your opposite knee, maybe coming up a little bit higher. And then we're going to inhale and lower down. We'll exhale, knit the ribs and curl up, and take the other hand and reach it towards the opposite knee. And then release back and down and breathe. And exhale and curl up and reach that first hand towards the opposite knee. And then inhale and lower down. And exhale and curl up, and other hand towards the opposite knee. And then inhale and lower down. All right, let's exhale and curl up and bring our feet off the floor. And then we're going to extend one leg out and twist across, and then bring that knee back and inhale and lower down. And exhale and extend the other leg and twist across, and inhale and lower down. Exhale and extend and twist, and inhale and lower back. Exhale, extend and twist. Inhale and lower back. Just a few more of these, just kind of waking up the muscles of the trunk here. And extending one leg. All right, now take your legs up in the air. Take a breath in. You can let's flex and point a little bit and stretch out the backs of the legs. Curl, circle the feet around. And then take a breath in. This time as we exhale and curl up, I want you to lower one leg down and twist across. And then bring that leg up as you inhale back. Exhale and curl up and lower the other leg down and twist across. And inhale and lower back. Exhale, curl up and twist across. And then lower down. One leg lowers. And then it comes back up. Other leg lowers. And then it comes back up. All right, release your head down. Your legs can stay up in the air. Take your arms out to your side, but then bend your elbows. So that we want to not use the arms here for this next motion. Actually, let's go ahead and bend the knees. So I want you to take a breath in, and on your exhale, do a little reverse curl. Try to lift your hips off the floor and then lower back out. So that's our traditional reverse curl. We just lift the hips up on the exhale and lower back down, and lift the hips up and lower back down. Now, could you think about just lifting one hip? Think about lifting your right hip up and then lower back down. And then think about lifting your left hip up. So it's kind of the same motion, but you're kind of working a little more into the side of that lower abdominal muscle. So you're doing one side, one right hip or left hip curls up and then lower out, and other hip curls up and lower out. So let's go to the center, just a standard reverse curl, and then do maybe the right hip lift and roll out, and then the left hip lift and roll out. We'll do the center again, curl up and roll out. Let's do the right hip lift and lower down, and the left hip lift and lower down. One more time all the way through. We'll do the center and lower. We'll lift the right hip a little bit more and roll out. We'll lift the left hip a little bit more and roll out. And let's straighten the legs now. So now we're going to try and keep the hips steady and stable. You might place your hands, your fingers on your hip bones, and we're going to do a little circle of those legs. Start with a little circle and then come back to the top. So circle your legs around and come back to the top. Try to do this movement keeping your hips steady so they're not going to lift or rock and roll now. Circle around. And to keep the hips steady, that circle might need to be quite small. You can try making the circle a little bigger and see if you can keep the hips from rocking or lifting or rolling. And we're going to circle in this direction 2 more times so you can explore how big you might be able to make your circle, keeping those hips from lifting or rocking. And then the next time the legs come up, we're going to circle the other direction. You might start out little small circles and then back to the top, little small circles, and back to the top. And you could explore taking those circles a little bigger. So you're really bracing or stabilizing with your core muscles here to keep those hips from lifting, rocking, turning. Let's go in this direction one more time. Nicely done. All right. And we'll lower our feet to the floor. Let's rest our arms at our side. We're going to set up for bridge pose, so feet right beneath the knees. Just press into the feet, knees and shins forward. Take your hips up into the air. Get a little stretch in the front of the thighs, into the creases of the hips. Take a breath, pressing down, pressing those knees and shins forward. And on your exhale, roll down. Let your spine slowly, gradually roll out of that hip bridge. Rolling until you're all the way down and your spine and tail relax. Take a breath, check in, see how you're feeling so far. And then let's roll to our sides and make our way all the way around to all fours. So we're going to be kneeling, and we're going to want to kneel comfortably. So if you need something under your knees to cushion, go ahead and put it there, because we are going to be putting all the weight on one knee. So as we're here, let's take one leg and press back through the heel. So we're going to press that heel back and pull the toes down. And then we'll take the opposite arm and we'll reach it out. Yeah. So can we be here and keep some support for the low back? So the low back's not dropping, the belly's supporting the low back. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to drop the big toe and the pinky and touch the floor. And then inhale and reach out. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and reach out. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and reach out. One more time, lower down, and then reach. So from here, could we take that leg out to the side, take the arm out to the side, and do the same thing? Lower down and touch. Inhale and reach out. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. Two more. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. And last one. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. Bring the leg back. Bring the arm forward. Take one more breath. And then release that hand and knee down. Nice work. Let's do the other side. We're going to press back through the other heel. Press out firmly. Fire up that whole leg. And then reach the opposite arm forward. Take a breath here. As we exhale, let's lower down, touching pinky and toe, and then reach out. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. Lower down and touch. Inhale and reach. One more time. Lower down and touch. Inhale and reach out long. And then can we take that leg out to the side and the arm out to the side? And then we're going to lower down and touch. And inhale and reach out. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. Two more. Lower down and touch. Inhale and lift. Last one. Lower down and touch. Inhale and reach. And then we'll take the leg back. We'll reach the arm forward. We'll take one more breath. Nice. Then that hand and knee can come down. And we're going to sit back on our heels. And we're going to take a little time here to check in. Let your forehead be supported. Connect with your breath. Connect with the feeling of your body. Connect with that thing that you're inviting in this morning or focusing on or working on. Breathe it in. And let your exhale be a releasing and a letting go. Just let tension, stress, worry empty out of you here now. One more breath. Then with your next inhale, lift your head up and reach your arms out. Let's make our way up to downward facing dog. feeling our hands on the floor. It's very intentional that we think about our connection to the ground, because that is a tool to calm the body. So consciously feeling your thumbs, your fingers, your knuckles, that connection to the ground. We want to have that conscious awareness. And then we draw the hips up and back. Let's bend a knee and press a heel down. And bend that knee and press the other heel down. Do that again. Maybe look at the heels, try to get them to go straight back. And then let's bend both our knees a bit. Take the hips a little further up and back if we can. We'll take a breath in. As we let that breath empty all the way out, just shake your head a little bit, free up your neck, maybe circle it or shake it or whatever. Take one more deep breath in and out. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down. End up in this nice forward fold, and now really feel your feet connected to the earth. Your toes under your toe mounds, your heels. Let's breathe into our upper back and allow the breath to empty out. And then draw the belly in and begin to roll ourselves up, knees nice and soft here as we slowly roll up and unfurl. Grounding down as we straighten up. We'll lift our heads up, draw those shoulders back and down. Let's reach the arms out and inhale and reach them up, lifting your heart. And then we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. Great. All right. Here's where I'd like us to use a block. And we're going to step up on the block. So you're going to want to have something to hold on to. Maybe you could hold on to a chair, a counter, a piece of furniture, or the wall. I'm going to use the wall. We're going to step up onto the block so that the front of the foot is on the block and the back of the foot is off the block. And then we're going to do a heel raise. We're going to lift our heels up. Come up nice and high. So you're holding on to something. So you can stay up here for a little while, activating the muscles in the calf. And then we're going to lower even with the block. And then we're going to let the heels lower a little bit past the line of the block. And then we're going to lift those heels up nice and high. And then we're going to lower those heels down. Just keep doing that. My screen, sometimes the size of my screen gets really big. Guys, so I'm just going to pull this a little closer. So you're rising up and you're lowering down. So now this next time we're going to rise up, and then I want you to bend one knee as the other heel lowers down. So you might get a deeper stretch. And then rise up and then bend the other knee and drop the other heel down. Try that again. Rise up, bend one knee and drop the other heel down. And then rise up, bend the other knee and drop the other heel down. We're going to rise up again. This time we're going to lower both heels down past the line of the block. And once those heels drop down, can you bend your knees forward just a bit, keeping the heels a little lower? So you might feel that stretch in a different place. With your bent knees, take a breath. And then just lift up and we'll step off of the block. We'll come to stand on our mats, and let's actually stand towards the front of our mat. And we'll get ready to flow a little bit here. So starting with our feet planted, let's reach the arms out and inhale and reach up. And then we'll exhale and swan dive forward, knees soft as we fold over. Let's bring our hands to the floor and make our way back to downward facing dog. Hands press down as hips draw back. We'll take a breath. We'll exhale to our straight arm plank. Nice and long and strong here. Take a breath. We could drop to knees as we bend the elbows a bit, or maybe we don't drop to knees, your choice. We'll take a breath here. We might drop to knees as we lower ourselves down onto belly, into prone mountain, letting that chest sink as close to the floor as we can. Nose smushes down. Let's lift the chin and the nose. Back of the neck is long. Crown of the head reaches forward. Toes reach back As you press the heels of your hands back, can you pull your heart forward and inhale up to your baby cobra? And then we'll exhale back down. Let's try that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. As we're here, we'll lift our hands a little bit off the floor. We'll lift our elbows up and squeeze them in. Feel how the upper back muscles are working here. And then we'll release the hands and release the chest. This time, we'll keep our hands down. We'll inhale up to our baby cobra. And if we like, we can come up a bit more to cobra. And then we'll exhale back down. Let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. And then lift the hips up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Let's look a little forward and walk our feet up toward our hands. We'll plant our feet beneath us. And then let's sweep our arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at our sides. Again, let's root down. Inhale and reach out and up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath here. Exhale, lower to straight arm plank. We'll take a breath here. Exhale and little bend in the elbows. We'll take a breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down. Prone mountain. Let's inhale up to baby cobra or cobra and exhale back down and make our way up and back to down dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Looking a little forward, let's walk our feet up and plant our feet beneath us. And then sweep the arms out, inhale and rise. And exhale, arms down at our sides. Great. All right, let's find our 2 blocks. And we're going to bring them to the front of our mats. We're going to fold over and just get those blocks right under our shoulders. You can have your blocks up nice and high. You can always put them lower, any height you want. If you have really nice free hamstrings and you want to just palm your hands on the floor, that's too. We're just using the blocks to bring the floor a little bit closer. So your feet are hip distance. I want you to take a big step back with your right foot into a lunge. And so now your arms are a little more forward, so bring your blocks again so they're right under your shoulders. So we have a little more support in this lunge here, potentially with our hands a little higher. Can we let our hips sink a bit? Making sure that our feet are hip distance apart. Let's go ahead and try and straighten the front leg a bit. Can you draw that front hip back a bit? And then bend into that knee, letting the hips sink down. We'll try again. Straighten that front leg a bit, draw that hip back, and then bend that knee and lower the hips down. Again, straighten, draw that hip back, and bend and lower. Let's keep our right hand on the block and take our left arm out parallel to the floor. And then inhale and reach that left arm up toward the ceiling. That left knee might want to drop out to the side, but hug it in. Keep it in line with the foot. Press down with the hand on the block. Reach up, broaden across your chest and back. Take a breath. And then let that hand come back down. All right, let's step the back foot in and step the other foot back into a lunge. Again, feet are hip distance. We're going to let those hips sink down. And then can we straighten the front leg and draw that front hip back a bit? And then bend into that knee, letting the hips sink down. And then straighten that front leg, letting the hips move back a bit, or the front hip anyway, front leg hip, and then lower down. One more time, straighten that front leg and draw that hip back a bit. And bend that knee and sink into your lunge. And then left hand is on the block. Take the right arm out to the side and inhale and open up into a twist. Press that bottom arm down. Keep that right knee from dropping open. Hug it in. Press down to reach up and take a breath. And then let that hand come down. All right, again, we're going to step that front foot in and step the other foot back into lunge. Feet are hip distance apart. We're on the ball of the back foot. Can we leave the blocks there? Press into the front foot and straighten up. Bringing hands to hips, we'll square our hips to that short line of the mat. And now we're going to bend the front knee forward and then push into that front foot to straighten the front leg. So as the front knee and shin move forward, we're pressing back through the back heel. And then we'll straighten, and then we'll bend, and then we'll straighten. Let's go ahead and bend the front knee now. The energy of the knee and shin is going forward. Can you think about that same sitting bone drawing back? Drop your arms down now and sweep them forward and up. Lift the ribs and the shoulders as you breathe in and stretch up. And then we'll exhale our hands all the way down onto the blocks. We'll step the back foot in, and we'll step the other foot back into our nice low lunge here. So feet are hip distance apart. Okay, let's leave the blocks there. Straighten our bodies up, straighten the front leg, and orient the hips towards that short line of your mat. So the back heel is pointing straight back. Let's bend the front knee and shin forward as we press back through that back heel, and then push that front foot down to straighten the front leg. Again, bend the front knee, push down to straighten. Again, bend the front knee and push down to straighten. This time we're going to bend the front knee and keep it bent. We'll drop our arms down and sweep them forward and up. Big breath in as you reach up. And then we'll exhale our hands all the way back down onto the blocks, letting the hips lower down. All right, let's step the back foot in. We're gonna set the blocks aside and just drop into your forward fold, or you could use your hands on the blocks. Let's take a breath into the upper back. Exhale and let that breath go. And then we're gonna roll ourselves up, knees soft here. As we roll ourselves up, we'll root down, reach the arms out and up, breathing in. We'll exhale and swan dive forward. We'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. We'll take a breath in here. Exhale to lower to straight arm plank. We'll take a breath here. Exhale, a little bend in the elbow or a little bigger bend in the elbow. And then another breath. And then lowering all the way down. All right. Now I'd like you to find your block, and it should be up here somewhere. Grab it out in front of you and hold it with two hands. So then lower down sort of into a prone mount and let your hips and your chest sink into the floor. You're holding onto that block. And I want you to press your hips down and lift your legs up. And then holding the block, can you lift your arms up? Kind of press the block together. So it's a locust pose with the arms overhead. It's like Superman. And you're pressing the block together. And then lower back down. Let's try that again. Press and lift. Breathe. And lower down. And again, legs lift up, arms lift up. Press your hands into the block. And lower down. One more time. Press and lift. And lower down. Nice. You can leave the block there. Bring your hands alongside your body. Let's push ourselves up and back into child's pose. Sit back on your heels. Fold over your legs. There was a lot of back bending, so now we're going to forward fold. Take some breaths. Notice how we feel. Breathe in what we need. Breathe out what we don't need. And then let's lift our heads up, reach our arms forward, make our way to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. We'll bend the knees and lower the hips. Sweep the arms forward and sit back in our low chair. As we're here, let's take the arms up and overhead. We'll breathe in and out here. And then push down to inhale and rise up, reach up. And we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. Nice work. All right, let's face this way. And we'll pick up our straps. And we are going to take a wide stance. Let's turn the right foot in. We'll turn the left foot out. And as you're holding your strap, you know, there's probably a buckle side and the other side. So take it near a little bit far from the buckle side and have the buckle side short and in front and have a longer side in back. So it's resting in your palm, a little short part in front and a longer side in the back. And then take that arm up by your ear and then bend your elbow. So that long side is going to drop down along the line of your spine. Take your other hand and grab it. And you could have a lot of distance, top hand to bottom hand, or you could walk your hands closer together. What feels good? So earlier, remember we took our arms overhead and that made us arch the back. We made the ribs pop up. So we've got an arm overhead. So check in with your ribs. Can you kind of soften them in or knit them in so you're not arching your back? And you might need to separate your hands a bit in order to not make your back arch, and that's fine. But you're holding that strap and it's aligned with your spine. So with your top hand kind of pull up on the strap, with your bottom hand kind of pull down on the strap. So there's some action in the shoulder muscles. So as we're pulling up and down, let's just bend the front knee. And then we'll push that foot down to straighten. So we're pulling up, we're pulling down, we're going to bend the front knee and then straighten it. Now, as you bend the front knee, can you pull that bottom arm down a bit more so it brings the top hand down with it? And as you straighten the leg, can you pull up with the top hand so it pulls that bottom hand up a little bit with it? So we're going to bend and pull down. We're going to straighten and we're going to pull up. We're going to bend and pull down. We're going to straighten and pull up. So you might find you need a little more distance from your top hand to your bottom hand, or you might find you could work them a little closer in. But your shoulder muscles are active as we're working on mobility here. Pulling down and pulling up. You're not arching your back. You're breathing. Let's bend the front knee now and do that same idea of pulling up and pulling down at the same time. If your head is really pitched forward, see if you can straighten it up. Take a breath as you pull up and down. As you release the breath, straighten your front leg. Let your bottom arm release and bring that top arm around and down. Shake it off if that would help. And then bring your feet forward. And then we're going to turn this back foot in. And we'll turn the other foot out. So again, holding it in that front hand, you want the shorter end, a little bit of a shorter strap in front, a longer strap behind. And then take that arm up by your ear and bend your elbow. Then reach back with your other hand and grab the strap. And then you can decide how close. Some people can get their hands almost touching. Some people could clasp their hands. Some of us need a little more room. What feels right for your shoulders? Let's go ahead and bend the front knee. And we're going to pull up and pull down at the same time. So we got that arm up in the air, so we might be letting the ribs pop forward or arching the back. So knit your lower ribs in so your spine is more neutral. If your head is forward, bring it back. We're pulling up and down on the strap. And as we do that, let's straighten the front leg and bend the front knee. You're pulling up and down as you straighten the front leg and as you bend the front knee. Now, as we straighten the front leg, pull up with your top hand and bring the bottom hand up a little bit with it. As you bend the knee, pull down with the bottom hand and the top arm is going to come down a little bit. So we're pulling up as we straighten. We're pulling down as we bend. We're pulling up as we straighten. We're pulling down as we bend. A couple more. Pulling up and pulling down and pulling up and pulling down. Let's hold here and pull up and down simultaneously for a breath. Nice. Go ahead and straighten the front leg. You can release your bottom arm. You can release your top arm. Let's turn the feet forward. Let's take the strap behind and hold it with both hands with the palms facing backwards. Your hands about the width of your hips, or could be wider if that's better for you. So feet are forward. We're going to inhale nice and tall. As we exhale, let's hinge forward from the crease of the hip. So the spine is long, knees can be soft. Pull that strap apart now behind you. So you're working the shoulders again. And then continue to fold over. Your knees can be as bent as you like here as your head drops down. And then pull on the strap. Your arms could widen. And see if you can take that strap up toward the ceiling. Your grip can be as wide as you like. Let your head drop down as your arms reach up. You're pulling the strap apart. Take a breath. As you exhale, reach back towards the wall behind you with your arms. Push into your feet and legs and rise up to flat back. Pause here. On your next inhale, push down and inhale and come all the way up. Nice work. All right, you can let go of pulling on the strap. You can bring your feet together. We're going to make our way down onto the floor. And I want us to set up on our backs with our 2 blocks. So find your 2 blocks and get them as you lie back. Can you put your feet on the blocks? It's kind of a little exercise to get your feet on the blocks, kind of in the place where your feet would be if you were going to set up for bridge pose. So your heels are kind of under your knees and your feet are up on the blocks. Your feet are hip distance apart. Your arms are at your side. So of course we normally do bridge with our feet on the floor. This is going to feel a little different with a little elevation. So try not to turn your head here, just look up at the ceiling, but press your feet down into the block. And you're going to notice the back of your legs firing. Your hamstrings, right, are turning on just from the action of pressing down into the block. And then as you're pressing down, can you lift up into a low hip bridge? We're not focusing on height here. We're just focusing on feeling the work in the back of the legs. So you're coming up into your bridge and then just let yourself lower back down. And let everything relax for a moment. Take a breath. And then again, first just push the feet into the blocks. And then as you push down, lift your hips up. And you feel the action a little differently than you would if you weren't using the block. And then lower yourself back down. You can continue doing that with 2 feet on the blocks, or you can take 1 foot up in the air and then push down into the block and lift up. And then lower down, just same legs. Push down and lift up, and then lower down. Couple more. Push down and lift up, and then lower down. Last time on this leg, push down and lift up. Can you press down a little harder or lift up a little bit more for 1 more breath? And then lower back down. We're going to change the foot on the block. So find the other block with the other foot. Lift that other leg off the block. And then press down to lift up, and then lower yourself down. Press down to lift up, and then lower yourself down. 2 more, press down to lift up, and then lower back down. This time, press down to lift up and stay there. Maybe lift a little higher, take a breath. Nicely done, and then lower down. All right. You can move the blocks aside so that your feet are on the floor. And then let's roll to the side and push up. All right. Our final, well, maybe almost final thing. I want us to sit on a block. So take the block, the long way, and then go ahead and sit up on it so that it's supporting your sitting bones. And, well, actually, that's going to be one option. You could be sitting on a block, or you could be not sitting on a block. Sorry, I had a different plan. Let's change our mind. We're not going to sit on the block. Sit on the floor and have your legs out in front. And then let's bring the right knee up. And we're going to do some twisting. You could be sitting on a block, or you could be sitting up on a blanket. But I think with one leg out in front, it might be more comfortable to be closer to the ground. So now that I've totally confused you, you're sitting down, your one leg is straight, your right knee is held in. Take your right hand behind, and we're just going to twist around to the right. And we'll take a breath in and out here. And then we're going to unwind. All right, now this leg this is like a progression. So you're always welcome to stay at one level or go down a level, whatever. So this is level 1. Level 2 would be to cross the leg over. And then same thing, the right hand's going to go behind and you're going to twist around to the right. And we're going to breathe in and out here. Best you can, you're rooting your sitting bones down and you're sitting up nice and tall. Just maybe one more breath here. Let it move in and down. And let it empty out. Great. And then you unwind yourself. So you could stay here like this with your legs like this. Another option is to take that straight leg and bring that heel by the opposite hip. And then that right leg can be in front of the shin, or it could be crossed over the bent knee. And the question here is whether you can have both of your sitting bones rooted down and your spine rising up. If this hip is kind of swinging in the air, then you're going to want to either put this foot here or straighten the bent knee. So find a way that you can have both sitting bones rooted down as you're sitting up tall. And then same idea, right hand goes behind. This left arm can always go to the outside of the bent knee. And we're going to spiral around. And we're going to breathe in and out here. Allowing that breath to release and empty. One more round of breath here. And then we'll unwind. All right, let's do that whole series on the other side. So we can start with both legs straight. And then we're going to draw the left knee in. And then we're going to take the left hand behind. And we're going to twist around. And take a breath in and out. And then we'll unwind. So you could keep doing it like that a couple more times, or cross this foot over and take the left hand behind and twist around. Trying not to lean back here, trying to have those sitting bones rooted and the spine rising up, and we're twisting around the line of the spine. We'll breathe in and out here. Then we'll unwind back around. We might do it again with the foot crossed over. We might have the foot where it was originally, or we could take that straight leg and bring the heel by the hip, and this foot could be in front of the knee or crossed over the knee. And sometimes on one side, you can get your sitting bones rooted down, but not on the other, which is the case for me. So find the way that you can be rooted and tall, and then spiral around. And then a couple of deep breaths in and out here. Let that breath empty fully and completely. And then release back around. And then uncross your legs. We're going to make our way to lying back on our backs. So let's go ahead and do that. You might put a blanket or a pillow under your head if you like. We're going to finish up with happy baby pose in honor of the birth of my new granddaughter. So go ahead and hug your knees in, and then take your knees apart. And you know, happy baby is a progression too. So you might just like to be here holding your knees apart. Or you can take your heels up in the air. You can grab behind the knees, pull the knees out and down. You could grab your ankles and pull your heels down over your knees. Or we can take 2 fingers and grab our big toes to pull down. Or some people might grab the outsides of the feet. Lots of options here. We're just weighting the knees out and down, getting a nice sort of, stretch into the hips, the inner thighs. You could just be here like a little baby who just found their feet and is just kind of enjoying the experience of feeling their body, recognizing that this is their body, these are their feet, kind of maybe just appreciating the fact that we have these amazing feet that allow us to do so much, even if they look kind of funny as we get older. And if you like, you could bring one heel in toward your midline and take the other leg out to the side. Pull that heel kind of out and down and take a breath. You might draw that heel in towards the midline and take the other heel out to the side. Pull it out and down and take a breath. You might just bring both heels again stacked over the knees, or you might enjoy taking both legs out wide and pulling out and down and taking one more breath. And then allow your heels to come back in toward your midline. Let go of whatever you're holding on to. Release your feet to the floor. You might separate your feet a little wider and allow the knees to gently drop inward. And take a breath in and out here. And then you can separate your legs. We're going to move into our final relaxation. So you might want to put on a layer or put on some socks if it's chilly where you are. You might want to cover up with a blanket or find a pillow or move to your bed or something. Make yourself nice and comfortable and warm so that your body will be able to relax. And then just lie back and give yourself permission to just completely relax into the floor. Let the tension melt out of your feet. Relax your toes. Relax the arches of your feet. Feel your ankles relaxing. Feel the muscles in your legs, your calves and your thighs, just kind of almost sliding off of the bones so that they're just completely relaxed, your legs resting into the floor. Let the weight of your hips rest into the floor and soften your belly. Let your gut unclench. Free it up. Feel your shoulders releasing back, your arms heavy on the floor. Invite the palms of your hands to relax. Let your head be heavy, resting back. Let your forehead be smooth. Let your eyes relax. Let your jaw relax and let your throat soften. Allow your mind to be like your body, just resting easy here now. Just let yourself be as you are. And as our reading said, it was when I stopped searching for home within others and lifted the foundations of home within myself, I found there were no roots more intimate than those between a mind and a body that had decided to be whole. So you might enjoy resting back a little longer. You're welcome to do so. You might just close your device. If you're ready to come out of your relaxation, you might gently open your eyes, bring your feet to the floor. Gently roll to your side and just take a moment there to transition. When you're ready, you can make your way up to sitting. Let's take a final few moments to just close out our practice. We might bring our hands to heart and just take some time for reflection or gratitude or whatever calls you. So grateful for this gift of this practice that just can help us so much. I'm grateful for your presence here this morning. Peace.